this idea came about. I'm constantly helping clients, buy and sell houses. We see them then have to go on the buy side to go get insurance. And then I also am in touch with clients after their purchase and they're filing insurance claims. They're hearing different things and reporting back to me going, hey, does this sound right? And I'm like, ooh, insurance, that's not my expertise, but
Right.
that sounds different than normal. So I call Connor and I'm saying, hey, what are you seeing out there? And then we start shopping our rates around with Connor and trying to figure out what the best deal for us. And I'm learning that things are not the way where they were a couple of years ago, the last time that I shopped for insurance. And so him and I just sat down on a phone call and I was like, all right, what do you see happening? And he just opened up. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is a lot of information. And if you're not in the real estate industry like myself or in insurance like Connor, you may not know about these things. And so we're like, we've got to get this out to people because we want to make sure that you and your family are protected. And so that's why we're here. So Connor with Goosehead Insurance has graciously agreed to come on and just share his knowledge in a quick little segment here. And so Connor, like I said, with Goosehead, I'm going to kind of turn it over to him a little bit to give us some updates on what's going on, what we're seeing with deductibles and premiums. And the big thing here in North Texas is obviously the roofs. And we're in that storm season. And so, and then also Connor will share with us some knowledge on how to get better premiums and raise your insurance score and different things like that. So Connor, appreciate you being with us.
Yeah, no, I'm glad to be here. The more people we can help out with this, the better. It's like JD was saying, it's constantly changing. There's amendments that get made monthly. So not only is it something that you'd have to be privy to, monthly, but like it's been years since these changes have been happening, repetitively. So it's completely new from what it was, like you were saying, a couple of years back. So kind of just starting off, I can open up this PowerPoint here in just a second, but the main part is the changes that they're pushing upon clients as like a mandatory must have. So we'll kind of start with that with my PowerPoint here. Start from the beginning. So I am licensed in every single state in the United States outside of California, Louisiana, New York, and Florida. So I've got widespread knowledge about what's going on, not just in Texas, but in other places as well. And it's not just Texas that's seeing a lot of these premiums go up. It's most places across the country. Usually we have what they call a catastrophic claim, a catastrophic risk. Usually would be an earthquake, a tornado, a hurricane, flooding. Usually we get about 5 to 7 of those a year with the insurance, or what insurance categorizes as catastrophic. In 2023, we had 11. So flooding, huge hailstorms that were taking out counties, water damages that were going on back in 2020. I think it was 2021, right, when we had that big freeze in Texas. I mean, that was a catastrophic risk that was categorized that year. So with these risks happening so close together, there's no real time for the insurance company to catch up. So that's when the insurance premium raises. And then something else happens, and then they had nothing to do but to raise it again because there was another catastrophic risk, another big tornado, hurricane, wherever it might be. So it's really just the one after another thing. And like I said, they're not able to get back to even in order to get back to the rates that we all like to pay, which is the lowest one, right? So going on to here, just a little bit about Goosehead. Started in 2003, went public in 2018. We are publicly traded currently. We are considered the largest brokerage in Texas, as well as the largest in the United States for home, auto, and life insurance, flood insurance. We do personal umbrellas. There's nothing for property and casualty that we can't do, whether it be your rental property, whether it be you'd like to get flood coverage for something that you're renting out to somebody, or you've got, say, a portfolio of 10 rent houses. We've got a policy for that too. So a lot of things that we can help out with other than just getting your home covered, because we've got a lot of carriers we work with as well. Biggest one, obviously the premium. So how did they come up with that, right? They want me to pay this for why? Why do they want me to pay so much more than last year? Well, a lot of it has to do with the location. Location based on what risk happened in that area, what catastrophic risk happened there, how many claims were being made in that zip code. A lot of times we'll see a client hasn't made any claims in years, but it was a place where there was a big hailstorm. Their roof was okay, but everybody else's wasn't. There was a lot of claims being made, and the insurance company is going to raise rates accordingly based on that zip code. Obviously, your claims history. If you have an $80,000 water claim that you made a couple years back, your insurance premium is not going to stay the same. Think if it's $80,000, insurance premium average in Texas about anywhere from $3,000 to like $3,500 in some of the higher places, and lower places about $1,800. So we'll say $1,800 to $3,500 average, kind of in that range, barring a smaller house or a bigger house. So with that being said, the quality of build goes into your premium as well. Do you have granite countertops? Do you have linoleum floors? Do you have wood floors? Do you have vinyl floors? How many bathrooms do you have? What are the bedrooms like? Do you have a detached shop? So there's a lot of things that go into these insurance premiums other than just, hey, I had a claim, this went up. And if there's a claim, they're going to want to know how are they going to recoup that money. The only way is for the premium to go up. And one of the ways to get the premium down would be to increase your deductible, which lately hasn't been something that we've been able to do to help our clients save money, because people in DFW, mainly Denton County, Tarrant County, Collin County, and Dallas County, the big ones in DFW, most everybody, if not everybody, is requiring a 2% deductible at minimum. There are a couple carriers that I work with, one of which has completely stopped writing in DFW. That's kind of what I was saying down the bottom. It's like closing in certain locations. They won't quote anyone. They won't accept insurance. There's others that will, but they require a 3%. I have two carriers that require a 3% deductible for wind and hail. Whether you just replaced it last week or 10 years ago, it does not matter. They want a 3% deductible. The worst part about it is when they give you an ACV roof. ACV is actual cash value, so they're going to factor in depreciation. For round numbers purposes, let's say it costs $10,000 to replace a roof. The insurance company said they wanted to depreciate the roof $500 a year. So that would be 10 years, $5,000 of depreciation, right? That's money that the insurance company is not going to pay you. So that's the money that you're going to have to pay on top of your 3% deductible. Let's say your dwelling amount is $100,000, so your 3% deductible would be $3,000. You would pay your deductible, you'd pay the depreciation, and whatever left, the insurance company is going to pay. Very unfair, but that's how they get out of paying a lot of these claims and getting back to the positive side. Contrary to belief, these insurance companies are not making very much money, only because the claims outweigh the premium in which they pay on most claims that come in. So if they're trying to catch up constantly on the claim that they paid out, the premium is going to go up. The wind and hail deductible is going to go up because that's usually the biggest claim outside of water. So that you're coming out of pocket more and they're coming out of pocket less. Back to those water coverages. Some of those water coverages, if you have a claim for water, a lot of times insurance companies will exclude that water coverage going forward. So say there's water damage in the house from water coming back up into the house from your city lines from the outside. Your plumbing is getting backed up, essentially. So it's coming into the bathroom, it's destroying the vanity, the floor is ruined, everything needs to be replaced. If you try to change insurance companies, now this isn't always, there's a likelihood that they will not allow that for you to have that coverage for the next 5 years. They'll give you other water coverages, like foundation coverage. Sudden and accidental coverage comes with almost every policy, regardless. That's for those things that when the pipe blows up, you can't really help that. But water backup is an optional coverage. They're not going to give you an optional coverage if it seems to be a claim that you've made in the past, because it's more likely that it may happen again, depending on the age of the house. So that comes into place too. So that is something that we've been seeing, is we can't insure our clients to the level of which we would want to, or the client would want to. So we've got to, one, shop more options, or two, find a way to get some coverage that makes a client happy in what they're looking for. So constantly dealing with things like that. And the next one is exposure management. This is one of those things where once again, nobody can really help. When certain carriers close in, let's say, zip codes for a lot of claims being made there, right? If they close, there's only so many that are accepting insurance in that area, right? So if that one company, say Allstate closed in Denton and Progressive was just getting an influx of Denton homes, they may close in Denton for 90 days to stop the exposure to what they're exposed to in Denton County. So, because if Denton County were to be hit by a huge hailstorm, kind of like we had last week, maybe 2 weeks ago, they're going to be paying out a lot more than what they normally would have, because other people had closed. They're getting more business, so they're going to pay out way more than what they had initially anticipated because of the market. So the market, these insurance carriers follow each other on what they're doing, and they kind of react. Progressive is massive in the market, one of the biggest insurers in the United States, and they are a needle mover. So when something happens with Progressive, with Geico, with State Farm, people tend to follow suit. Those people have a lot of clients, a lot of claims that get paid out. So it's kind of like a foreshadowing of what's to come. So these insurance companies, they piggyback off each other all the time. And what do these changes mean, right? Obviously, more money for us to come out of pocket. About a 22% increase year over year from last year to this year. Now, there are people that are renewing at 60%. There are people that are renewing at a 10% increase. So it really does vary. Once again, depends on the location, and it depends on if you've got a bundle, how long you've been with them. A lot of things that go into it other than just the percent increase outside of that. But just for numbers purposes, about 22% was the number that we were able to find for year over year. Kind of what I was mentioning in the last slide, carriers closing certain lines of business. Travelers Insurance is arguably the best insurance company in the United States. They are one of the only AA rated carriers by the AM Best. So great carrier. They are no longer accepting dwelling fire policies. Dwelling fire is a rental property. So you're renting a property out to a tenant. They're no longer accepting those in DFW. So you can have your home and auto business with Travelers, and they will not accept your rental house. Once again, one of those things we've been seeing, exposure management. They don't want to have too many rentals in one area. Or honestly, Travelers is really good for rentals everywhere in Texas. So that's kind of one of those things where if somebody has no lines of business with somebody, they're going to go to Travelers because they've got a good product and they're a great company. And in the past 8 months, we have not been able to write anything dwelling fire with Travelers. That's not to say you can't call Travelers and get your own policy with them through an agent with that. Every brokerage has its own guidelines that it's got to abide by based on the business that we do for that carrier and our underwriting details. So this isn't to say that they can't do it. No, don't go to them. You know, it's to say that I can't do it. The brokers can't do it. You would have to go to somebody directly to Travelers. And when that happens, you don't have an agent. You don't have somebody that you can refer to. You don't have somebody that's vested in your insurance. These insurance companies, they've just got, an agent that works 9 to 5. And, if you switch to Allstate, it doesn't matter to me. Whereas with me, I want to keep you with me. It matters to me. I want you to be happy. I want you to be in a good place. And I want you to stay with me. So that's why it makes it a little bit harder when we can't give our customers all those lines of business. And it's just because people have stopped giving them out. Then obviously turns to less options to shop. And then when you do shop, a lot of times your percent increase, say you're just renewing at a 15% increase. Now, if your policy is $1,000, that's a big increase. $150 on $1,000 is a lot. So it once again depends on the premium and things like that. But when there's less options to shop, your renewal is based on a percent. Your new business, it's called new business when you switch carriers. Your new business is based on the current market rate. the current market rate is almost always higher than what your renewal percentage is. So you've got a client that say their policy is $6,000 and they're renewing at 10%. $600 is a lot of money. That's a big increase. And so that 10% is not privy to the market that went up 22%, right? So now your $6,000 policy is, say, $7,300 for anybody else, but Travelers is renewing you at a 10% renewal rate, and you've got a $6,600 policy instead of a $7,300. That's hard pill to swallow because it's like, well, I can't do anything about it. What am I supposed to do? You're supposed to renew. And
options on that.
Day. It's tough.
Yeah. So options on that would be, you increase your deductibles if you're wanting to. If your bottom line is, I just got to pay less each month, and then you're looking at, you're at 2%, then at 3%, and what's next? 5%.
Yeah. So it goes 2, 3, and then 5. And also
right.
One of those things that we're able to do is you got to do a little bit of math. But if your premium, your deductible, say they're requiring a 3% deductible, you've got a 10-year-old roof, and your deductible is already $7,000. So let's say it's going to be what, 12, 20 grand to fix that roof. A lot of times what we'll do is we'll increase the deductible to the maximum amount, and the customer will self-insure in that situation. Because if it's going to be cash value anyways, and the insurance company may come up with $2,500 in the end after depreciation, we might as well get all the savings on the front end for the premium, and then not have that claim on our record that increases our rate for 7 years to come. Because claims will stay on your record anywhere from 5 to 7 years. So you're paying more and more year over year based on that claim, instead of just, swallowing that, once again, that hard pill to swallow, paying for it yourself, but not having that claim on your record.
Now, the real estate agent in me is going to tell you, here's what I can see where this is moving to. I'm going to have people weighing the options. Do I file a claim and almost pay, as much with my deductible and maybe the cash value as it would for me to just go and hire someone and pay out of pocket, avoid insurance, kind of like you do a windshield sometimes on a car, right? Well, here's what I see could be a problem. You go hire someone that is not qualified because they got a cheaper rate to put that new roof on. I'm gonna save some money. I know somebody down the road that can get this roof on. Well, then insurance gets wind of it that they weren't licensed. Now are they even going to insure your home because your roof was not put on by a professional? That's the thing that starts concerning me as we go down this road. And now if you can't insure your home is now rendered worthless because you cannot sell it. Because if it can't be insured, you cannot sell it. And then your lien holder, your mortgage company, is going to now go, you're supposed to have insurance. You can't because you didn't make this bad decision. So there's a rabbit hole that you can go down that is that makes me really worried. And so we have got to stay on top of this to make sure everybody is understanding the changes that are happening, how to avoid it. You're getting with Connor, you're calling me to find a roofer, a qualified one, and those sorts of things. So all of this, like I said in the beginning, this is a whirlwind of information that when I heard it, I was like, oh my gosh, a 3% deductible. I remember when someone told me, just go to 2. I was like, no way, I'm not going to 2% because I was at 1%. So, and then the cash value thing on the roof on top of your deductible, these things are a little troublesome. And so Connor and I are going to work together on keeping everybody up to date on what's going on with this. We're going to stay on top because, with the hailstorms, storm season right now, it could get silly. And so you got to stay up to date on what's going on. Connor, for time purposes, let's kind of open up, make sure anybody has any questions of kind of what you said. Sometimes this stuff is like drinking through a fire hose with information. It's a lot, guys. So if you have a question, unmute yourself, type in the chat, whatever you want to do. If you're not comfortable doing that, you can obviously send us questions after this. But I want to give everybody a chance to throw out a question if you got it for Connor while we got him.
No questions right now, but boy, this was good information. And yeah, I like it.
Thanks, Mike.
Have to check on what I've got on my policy.
Right. Yeah, it raises that question, right? Like, wait, I haven't looked at it in a couple of years. And they renew it every year. They'll usually make their changes. They'll adjust their dwelling amount accordingly with inflation and the home value and prices going up. Things are more expensive, so your dwelling amount may increase incrementally year over year. So it might be a completely new policy from the last time you looked at it. So would definitely encourage having something handy or something you can always refer to on the insurance, because like these things are changing all the time.
That's a
And
good point
definitely
on.
case by case basis with that cash value. It's not something that I would recommend. It's really like JD said, it's a scary situation, and it's a lot of money people would have to come out of pocket. So it's not something that we do often, but there's ways that we can help clients that a lot of people don't usually think of.
Great. Give us a quick summary on. I'll let you finish. Unless there's another question, you feel free to interrupt us, everyone that's on. Talk to us about how we can, other than dropping or raising your deductible to save money each month, which can be dangerous because then you get a hailstorm, you got to file a claim, and that's a 2 to 3%. That's a big deal, especially if you've got a $400,000 or $500,000 house.
Yeah.
What are other ways, like you have here on your slide, that we can improve our premiums without sacrificing coverage?
Right. Yeah, that's the biggest thing. We don't want to sacrifice the water coverages. We don't want to increase the deductible if we don't have to. So there's some things that you can do on the back end for yourself that the insurance companies will see that'll help that is comprised in the rate that they give you. So the insurance score is something that people are like, insurance score? I thought I checked credit score. Well, you have an insurance score too. Everybody has it. Nobody knows what your insurance score is. The insurance companies base it off of those reports at the time of when it's ran. So it's detailing your insurance history, the limits that you carry on your insurance history. So if you've got really low liability limits, that's a negative on the insurance score. If you have bad credit, that's a negative on the insurance score. Now, bad credit can obviously be subjective, but they don't pull your credit. It's all, it looks at your bureaus, looks at the history, your payment history and things like that. Obviously, because we pay auto insurance monthly, they look at, see how you pay your reoccurring payments. It has something to do with your insurance score. Some carriers rely on this very heavily. Some carriers don't rely on all, and they just go on claims history. So, but how you can increase that insurance score is, for one, to carry higher limits on the auto insurance. State minimum limits are outdated. An average cost of a car is about $40,000. The property damage that state minimum limits cover on car insurance is $25,000. Nobody wants to come out of pocket $15,000 for accidentally rear-ending somebody while you have insurance. So that's a big one. Something that JD had referenced a couple minutes ago was actually kind of funny because it's on this slide. Do not call Safelite for your windshield star, the chip on your windshield, in hopes that you just don't have to pay anything. I know it stinks. Pocket or reaching the pocket, pay the $80, pay the $120, because that comprehensive claim is going to be on your record for at least 5 years. So when you, whether it be 60, I mean, I see people call a tow truck for $47, and it's on the record for 5 years, and they pay $1,000 over 5 years, which is, if you're going on a 6-month policy, 10 policies worth of that claim, which was way more than $47. The rock chip was $80, but you pay, $800 over 10 years or 5 years for having that on the record. So pay for the tow out of pocket, pay for the windshield chip out of pocket. If you can, keep those petty claims off the insurance. Same thing with the home insurance. If say your power goes out and all the food in the freezer is spoiled, a lot of times you can call insurance. They'll give you $500. You can go grocery shopping, get all your food back for $500. I wouldn't recommend that. Once again, it's going to be on your record for 5 to 7 years with home insurance, and you're going to pay a lot more than $500 in premium than what you would have had to pay to go periodically back to the grocery store, get the chicken, get the meat, get all that kind of as you go. So those smaller things that we can hopefully make. I know a lot of times you just can't do it. I don't have the money to do it, Connor. I'm sorry. That's what insurance is for. If you don't have it, that's why we make a claim. If you can avoid it, I would recommend avoiding it. And another one, just a little easy one: schedule your payments on the day or the day after you get paid. That way, if it's on automatic, You've always got the money in there. You're not missing a payment. You're not lowering your insurance score, and then in turn increasing your rate even more than what it would have been initially. So those are just a couple things on the insurance score and what you can do for yourself to have a better rate in the long run. Because when a carrier sees that you have 100, 300, 100, like a higher limit for the auto insurance than the state minimums, they're going to want that business. They're going to want that business because you're protecting yourself, you're protecting your assets. It kind of goes into how it's a telling trait to the insurance companies. These things definitely help, and every little bit helps. Save $80 here, $90 here.
Absolutely.
Eventually we're saving $400 or $500 a year. So just to kind of sum it all up, it's not easy. Nobody knows everything about insurance because it's always changing. Have somebody to help you, whether it be me, whether it be your friend, whether it be somebody that you've heard about. Have somebody there as a resource, because there's no harm in asking. It's not going to hurt anybody, and it's only going to help you. DFW is a hot spot. Everybody knows that. We drove home from work today. There's a ton of people outside, a lot of people on the roads. People are coming here raising the home values, which in turn raise the home premiums. It's a cycle. They're all kind of related to each other in that way. Technology is increasing premiums indirectly. All these cars with all these chips and OnStar and technology and self-driving, it's a lot more to get repaired. Those things to get repaired. Higher claims means the insurance company's in a bigger hole. Higher premium increases, higher average premiums, going out to everybody. So that kind of goes with the claims pre-COVID. Everything increased after COVID. It was like the thing that everyone was talking about. Things are more expensive. So we've seen a little bit that level out, obviously, but things are not back to pre-COVID levels. They still haven't been there, and it's still going up. Carry high limits on the auto insurance if you can do that, and pay small out-of-pocket claims. Pay small claims out of pocket to keep it right. Some of the big ones there.
I want to remind everybody, even though he's talking about some auto insurance things, we're talking about that so that you can increase your overall insurance score, whether that's boat insurance or whatever. All of that helps your insurance score when you go shop for homeowners insurance or any of those other products.
Exactly right. Thanks for mentioning that. I kind of forgot about that. That was perfect. Yeah, and get that bundle package. Bundle the auto with your home insurance if you can, so that you get the discount, the bundle discount. The bundle discount's not always better than what the other rate might be somewhere else, but it's definitely the biggest discount that they give on a policy is for bundles.
Got it. All right.
Anybody have any questions?
No, I don't think so. That's good information to know. And my son's trying to replace his roof, but he's not going through the insurance, so
it's never just call the insurance and then hey, it's done, right? No, it's you got to get pictures, things like that. You want to make sure you've got a credible roofer. I'm sure JD's got somebody he can refer to. We've got some people at Goosehead that we can refer to you, that we work with hand in hand, so that you have a reputable roofer to get that done for you. Because like you were saying, if the insurance company finds out they're not licensed, that could raise some underwriting issues to where they would have viable reasons to just cancel the policy. And if they cancel it, then you got mortgage force-placed insurance, which is pretty much a high premium covering just the house, maybe the roof at cash value, and you don't have any water coverages, and you're paying more than what you would for a normal policy. So a lot of things can snowball downhill quickly if things get out of hand in the front end. It'll start to pile on.
Absolutely. I can't stress enough, not only from the licensing standpoint on these contractors such as roofers, but just someone who knows how to work an insurance claim. They may be great roofers, but there's another side to that. You have to make sure that they know how to work an insurance claim for you, and look out for your best interests on that side of it as well.
Yeah, it's exactly.
Other questions, comments? Connor, how do we get a hold of you if we need something?
Yeah. So this is my cell number here, my email. I've also got JD selling email on here as well. I can do anything anywhere pretty much at this point. So, and if you're in the best spot, I'll be glad to tell you. I pay for auto insurance. I pay for home insurance. I own my home. I'm a consumer as well. I'm being affected by these rates too. So if you're in the best spot, I have no problem saying, hey, Michael, State Farm is going to be the best one for you for the next year. My rates are coming in at XYZ and XYZ for that auto insurance, and you're going to be, in a better spot for the next upcoming year. Call me at your renewal. Whenever you get a renewal, let me know, because your next renewal could go up by 50%, based on what happens. So it's something that you're going to always have to pay attention to for a little bit. But yeah, I have no problem telling somebody that they're in the best spot.
I can vouch for that. I can vouch for that. He's done it. He's been a good resource for me. Don't feel like you're bothering him. Shoot him an email if you got a question on something. There's plenty of times where I hit his number in my phone and I'm calling him. I'm like, oh, I just talked to him a few days ago. He's probably not going to answer. He's tired of talking to me, but he picks up or he'll return my call. And man, he's been a great sounding board. Saved us not only a lot of money shopping around for us, but just a good resource on how to navigate these changes. So appreciate you, Connor, and taking the time to educate everybody on what's going on in this crazy world of insurance. Appreciate everybody coming on. Again, write that number down, take a picture, screenshot it, because if you got anything, feel free to reach out to either one of us.